Hello, and welcome to another segment of the Digital Indigenous Storytelling Project. Throughout this series, we'll interview Indigenous individuals who live in Missouri and have them share a story about themselves and their culture. My name is Eric Pinto. I'm Choctaw, Mississippi, and Zuni of New Mexico, and a project coordinator for the Catherine M. Booter Center for American Indian Studies at Washington University in St. Louis. In this segment, I'll be interviewing three Samoan gentlemen who grew up on Samoa and eventually moved here to the U.S. and Missouri. We will dive into their life experiences and have them share more about the Samoan people and culture. I want to personally thank you three for taking time out to be with us today and to share your life experience and culture with us. Can you go ahead and give us an introduction and background about yourselves? We'll start with you, Vi.
Sure. Yeah, well, late of time level will have not. Yeah, olo swafa fanavai mafuli. Olo tamam olo tina. O sivatia mafuli, o tinao, I lafo fangavai mafuli. My name is Fanavai Mafuli. I am the son of Sivakia Mafuli. My mom is Ailafo Fangavai Mafuli. O Tisau Malinu o Isamoa. I was original from the island of Samoa in the South Pacific, but I grew up in Pago, American Samoa.
Puni? Yeah, you want to go ahead?
Oh, yeah, for time whatever Noah, Ilenea so soangi rismako also Eric Molanga interview. Us. Yeah. Olo Swafa or Etewini Puni or yeah, so Wolai Fui Samoa. They shortly Fapupung Olo Ingoa or Teu. You know, yeah, Puni le Fau. Yeah, o Matua or Etewini Puni Pau or Sioptina or Fafeai Puni Pau. Yeah, o te talanoa tu lenea so yo matua yeah ma. Yeah, right now, just want to thank you for the opportunity. Just to let you know, my name is Etewini Puni. They shorten it for Teo Puni, which is a lot easier to say it. And I was raised by my mom and dad, Etewini Puni Pa'u, and my mom, Fafeai Puni Pa'u. Yeah, olo nu'u sa o whāngau I oi I Pangopango a Malik Samoa I Tutuila. Yeah, sa o whānau le tasi afe iwa slau ona whā. Sa o onga I le elementary, Pangopango Elementary School. Yeah, o waru le high school o Whangaitua. O whau mai le warurua I Whangaitua High School, I le nuu o Whangaitua. Yeah, o sauroi I le Skolsipi, Amalik Samoa, le Skolsipi, Northeast Missouri. You know, back in the Yasola or Northeast Missouri State University, no recruit la koia o ke sa kalo football ile a onga ile afe iwa slau varulua o sa wai I Missouri ile a onga I Kirksville, Missouri. Yeah, o le a onga la le university kemige o ka'o o Truman University, Woleko, Northeast Missouri. So just to let you up a little bit, know about my history. I was born and raised back in American Samoa in the island of Tutuila, the village of Pangopango. I went to elementary high school. It was Pangopango Elementary School. And then I went to my high school in Whangaitua, in the village of Whangaitua. I graduated in 1982 over there, and I came here on a scholarship from the government back home in Samoa, and a scholarship from the University of Northeast Missouri State University, which is now called Truman University. So that's how I ended up here in Missouri to go back to school. And also, ever since I've been there, I left 86, 87, came here 89 to St. Louis, Missouri, with the girlfriend, now wife. She's a nurse for Cardinal Glennon. Her name is Jessica Pooney. All right, I'll give this opportunity now to Mr. Malili, and we'll go from there.
Talo falava malulu soifua faafetaima o le amanoa ia o loo igoa o se ua muli ma lele faatuono o matua o lotomā o tofilega faatuono matila o le tinā o vaosea tofilega faatuono o te samuelino o Salamua le ipata o pulu Samoa. Yeah, my name is Malele Fatuono. My mother is Vaosea and my father is Fatuono. I'm from the independent state of Samoa, and I grew up in Samoa. I live in Samoa all my life. I went to my village primary school, Salamua Primary School, and I went to Chanel College from 86 to 88. Went to the Teachers College in Samoa. At that time, it was called Western Samoa Teachers College, from 88 to 91 and 89 to 91. And then I moved to New Zealand for a year, from 99 to 2000. And then 2001, I moved to St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys. Yeah. Vi, if you want to share, more about your journey.
So I also grew up in both sides of the island. Original from Samoa, the village of Mutiotele in Saleapanga, Alepaka. So we moved. My mom and I moved to American Samoa, to Tuila. The reason for that is for schooling. So that's where I attend school as a young kid. Like Mr. Pooney said, we all attended Pangpango Elementary School, from grade 1 all the way up to, I think, 8 before we move on to high school. So after elementary, I attended Samoana High School. That's where I, play all sports and went to school, graduate from there. The key over here is for us to be able to make something big for ourselves. So in order to do that, we really have to study hard, in high school, well, from elementary all the way up high school, in order for us to live, to be able to leave the rock and come over here and make a big thing for ourselves, So that's how I ended up here in the United States. As a matter of fact, I was the first one, not the first one, but I was kind of like the first one to went to where Pooney went, Truman. Back in the day, they used to call it Northeast Missouri State University. Yeah, but now it's Truman University. So to get back to that, we earned a scholarship in high school. And they say, Vi, you're going to this university. I look at it, I was just a kid, wild kid on the island, don't know. The only destination is Northeast Missouri State University. And that's how I ended up there too. So I went over there from 77 to 81, finished school, moved back here to St. Louis, and that's where I reside now. I am now living here in Florissant. I work as a software developer for Boeing, Previously, I was an engineer for McDonnell Douglas. And I am married, and we 3 wonderful kids. So thank you.
Thank you, Uso. And Eric, just heads up on that too. You know, I was back in the island. I was born, you know, I got to say that in English. I was born and raised back in the islands in 1964. And I grew up on my life back in the islands. When I was young, I get to visit, you know, San Diego, San Francisco, because I had some relatives that lived out there, Hawaii, you know, when I was just a little kid. Yeah, nothing experienced, you know, but I kind of knew it just as a young kid to travel that far out like that too. And it was kind of nice. So when we had the opportunity to get this chance to go out and go to school, you know, outside the rock back in American Samoa, to come here and earn that living, you know, it was a blessing. It was a blessing for us to get that opportunity to get something like that, to come and finish your schooling, your college career over here. You know, ended up in Missouri, didn't know where it was at. You know, it was kind of nice, you know, to go through life as from a whole different perspective back in the island. So it was a very, very good experience and a true experience to learn away from how we grew up back home, which it was kind of nice. So, you know, to be here now, to start your life away from your family back home. You know, I got my own family now too. I'm married happily, and I have 4 kids. My oldest daughter and my 3 sons. You know, the oldest 2 is done with college, and then the 2 youngest are still in college. So, and then I got a grandson, my daughter's grandson, which is a nice little family life to grow. You know, just to tell you the whole truth, you know, to come here by yourself and learn that you have family here too, it is so amazing and it's so awesome to meet up with that. So, you know, we'll let Melinda go first, and then we'll tell you the stories how I ended up meeting Vi, which is the true story, amazing how we ended up together. So I'll give the chance to Melinda real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll experience that other short side of the story. Thanks, Mel.
Growing up in the island is, like what I said before, all my life, I grew up in the island, and, you know, I live way far from town. I'm from the village of Salamua. It's about
2 hours.
2 hours from town.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff we do over there, and growing up as a boy, is mostly traditional, because you know, I look at my brothers and my sisters, look up to my uncles and my aunts, and everything around me at that time. It was pretty much traditional, and my family, we do not have money like people over here, you know. And I like living in Samoa, and that's the life I grew up, like fishing and doing the chores for, you know, and like the regular boy in Samoa, like we climb coconuts and we swim and we feed the pigs and the chickens, and that's the kind of life I grew up at. And I went to school over there. We walk to school. We walk to school, and pretty much every day is like run around in the village, and and then I went to town to school in town, and it's like it's a different experience for me, because now I live like the kids in town, and but it's pretty much at that time, and everybody in Samoa, we speak Samoa. That's the other thing of being an independent country. We speak Samoa. Everybody speaks Samoa. My parents speaks. They don't know how to speak English, and I like that. We speak Samoa, and everybody in the village speaks Samoa, and I think that's pretty much why I love the culture, and because that's all I know at home, and I know much about Samoa and with the Samoan life because that's how I grow up in.
Also,
Samoa.
you were a teacher in school.
Yeah, and
You need to say that.
yeah, I mean, and then when I graduated from teachers college, then I was teaching for about only 8 years before I moved to New Zealand, and then moved back here. And that's one thing I forgot to say is I met my wife in Samoa. She came to Samoa as a Peace Corps volunteer, and she was teaching over there, and that's how we met. And I moved over here. I'm not like these guys that they came to school over here, but I moved over here because of my wife. So, but at first I didn't want to move over here. I was planning on moving back home, but at that time I was coming here and take care of my wife's grandmother, and then here I am and married, and we have 2 kids. So they're in school, and I look at it and say, well, let them go to school over here. So, and here we go. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You guys did great. Yeah, with that. No, that's great. Like, I wanted to know, where you guys kind of grew up at, and then what made you guys move over here to the U.S.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But you mentioned who your parents were. Could you say a little bit where they kind of grew up, where they were kind of from? Were they from that same area that you grew up in, and then your siblings a little bit, how many siblings you have?
Yeah. So my parents, I grew up in a very poor family. Not poor as far as the cultural or food or anything, poor as materialized thing, like having cars or anything. Growing up as a kid in American Samoa, we always walk. We walk from there. So my parents, one was from American Samoa, Tutuila. The other one was, my mom is from the independent Samoa. Okay. So we didn't have much, there was 9 of us, there was 9 siblings. I have, and I'm the oldest of all 9. So I was the first one off the rock, to come here into the United States, born, raised in American Samoa and Samoa. Out of 9 kids, I was the oldest one. So in 1977, after graduating from high school, I left the island. Left the island to attend college here in the United States. So getting off the rock is pretty tough, because you have to earn it, because your parents don't have any money, nothing, So you depend a lot to the school side, for them to say, okay, here's your fee here, this is your plane ticket to this location, Independence, Kansas City, Northeast Missouri Stadium. I don't know where that is. All I know, I have a ticket to get off the island. So I left the island in 1977, went to school, That was the other thing too, coming here, I didn't have no family, no family. I was 17 years old when I left the island. I first landed in Hawaii. Didn't know nothing about airplane, airport, It was pretty rough. So luckily I have a classmate in high school who traveled with me, and she was the one that helped me for my next flight to the United States. So that evening I left Hawaii, flew to LAX, And all of a sudden, things got big. Buildings got big. When the airplane was coming, all I see was light and building, you know. All of a sudden, everything, I thought the mountain was bigger. You know, I grew up around mountains and back home. But all of a sudden, this thing got bigger, and I said, oh my gosh, where I am, you know. I didn't have no family. That was the one thing, you know. Nobody was waiting for me or anything. So I had to defend for myself at the airport, you know. I asked around, and people were able to help me, you know, to get to my destination. And then my destination was Independent, Kansas City. I flew up there, didn't know nobody, but the only thing that helped me out was a black man. A black man was sweeping the floor, and I was so lost, you know, over there. I asked him, and the thing that came to my mind was the slang, you know, the way he talked to me. And then when I talked back to him, we were both kind of lost, you know, because my accent was very heavy, you know, and the slang, you know, all that, you know. So luckily, he can walk me to the carousel, and there was a person over there helping me finding where my luggage. And then all of a sudden, I heard my name. I hear my name on the speaker, Mr. Mafuli, please, carousel, blah, blah, blah. And I told the person, that's my name. So he walked me over there, and sure enough, the coaches were there waiting on me. And that's how I ended up. And that was another thing, another 4 hours from Independent City to Northeast Missouri State University. Oh my God, I've seen more corns than I can even, you know, so, and that's how I ended up at Northeast Missouri State University. And that was in 1977. From 1977 to 81, I was done.
Puni, talk a little bit about your parents and siblings.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Uso. Yeah, growing up back home, my mom and dad, when I was just, you know, we didn't even know what going to work is growing up back home. You know, it was always the parents that did all the working for us, and, you know, growing up, even in high school. So my mom and dad were working for this company back home. It's called Van Camp, which is called Van Camp Samoa, which is like like a tuna factory back home. Yeah. Growing up, when they were working, this is how the whole life was depending on was, you know, your parents bringing all that food and everything for the family was from that company back home starting. It was called Van Camp Samoa back in the island. There was two of them. There was another one. It was like two of the biggest manufacturers back home with all, it's almost like if you don't have the opportunity, you're going to end up going working there. It was called Van Camp Samoa, and Star Kids was the other tuna factory, which is very popular back home. And that's where a lot of the island people gets to go to if you don't have anywhere else after your high school life, which is, you know, some of them ended up being teachers and stuff like that. But it was hard. It was hard growing up back there because you don't know what you're going to do afterwards. So like I was saying, we were lucky. We were lucky to get that opportunity to get off the island of what we ended up doing with that, to be blessed with scholarship to come out and finish your schooling up in the States, you know. And we were few lucky ones that get picked, you know, because of the athletic is what they call it, you know, to show your athletic situation and get up there. And people in the state like to see that, so say, let's go get this kid, you know, bring him up here, see what he can do to help us out. And that was the whole thing. So mom and dad did most of the working. I have 3 other siblings. I had an older sister, a younger brother next to me, And then the youngest one, he's deceased. He had a heart problem, probably in his freshman, sophomore year in high school. So it didn't last him that long to have that, all the heart problems for him. And it was tough for the hospitals back home to maintain that, to keep him going, because they flew him out to the States to have that surgery and everything. That tells us about the hospital back home too. So there's just three of us now. My sister, all her life, when she left high school, she had a scholarship to go to the University of Hawaii. And when she was done, she lived in Hawaii for a long, long time. And she decided to move back home. She's back home now with her family. And then the younger brother under me, he had the scholarship of the San Diego State, which he came up here, finished school, stayed up here for 2 years, I think, in San Francisco with the family and everything. Met the girlfriend, now wife, and then moved back to the island with his, started his family, and some of his kids are here in the state going to school. And that's the whole, the family situation there. Mom and dad are both deceased. So I'm here, and just to make contact, we always okay, grab the phone, try to reach out to them. That's once in a blue moon. It's always been the telephone thing, to reach out to my sister and brother and some other family members back home. That's the whole connection thing, how we get to each other. Now the Zoom thing, I don't know if they got it back home, but that's kind of cool too, to see everybody's faces, which is kind of nice. So growing up here, we live in St. Charles, Missouri, with the family. We've been here since, me and my wife been here since 89, 90. And we're still here, growing the family, start the family and everything. So which is kind of nice. And moving from school to here in St. Louis, Missouri, and we had some friends from friends that said, dude, if you ever get up there, go to this gym and start working up there. There's a couple of Samoans in their thing. So up there at the gym. So, all right. So going to the gym for the first time ever, coming from Kirksville up to St. Louis, and to walk in there and see this guy working out, lifting all these big ass heavy weights, he kind of looked familiar, man. And I kept saying to the guy that took me over there, and I said, dude, that guy looks so familiar. So when they told me his name, I just almost started crying, because growing up back home was my cousin. I used to take their equipment, in other words, their shoulder pads, when I was a little bitty kid, carry their stuff around for their high school games back in the island. So when they told me that is by Mafuli, and just when he told me that, I almost teared up. I said, man, I grew up with that guy, watching him with my cousin. And that's the whole meeting up with Vi. And then we started our own family here. And we've been together ever since. And that's the connection. We got our own Samoan family here now. And then, with Malele coming in too, now this is our little Samoan family connection here in St. Louis. There's a few other Usos, brothers out there. We'll mention their names later, but this is how the whole connection thing started with me and Vi. Was moving here thinking I'll never see another Samoan here. And then to run into him and his wife, Jackie, it was a blessing. It was so nice. And then the connection with me and him since, I would say, 90, and it's still going strong. It's just like an older brother to me being here. That's how this family started here. We still connect to the family back home, but this is how this family started here. And we do our own little culture thing, the gathering, the get together, which you've been to, Pinto, your family. So that's how this family started. So I'll leave it up to Malila, and then we'll get back to the story back here when we come back.
Yeah, Malila, if you want to talk about a little bit about your parents, siblings, and how you met these two.
Thank you, Rick. But I said my parents, they both Samoans. And my father, he was a local farmer, and he worked at the agriculture department to raise 12 kids, because I have 5 brothers and 6 sisters. So, you have to work so hard. And my mother didn't work, but she worked at home 24/7. She prepared the food, the clothes for us, and do the local women's committee thing, and the women of the parish and all that. She is a tough woman. She's a tough woman, and so is my father. My father's a chief, and it's like growing up, looking at them, how they do things. They work so hard. And I appreciate my parents. And for my sisters, I think pretty much my sisters went to school in town, because my father, we don't have a lot of money, but my father can afford, from working so hard and to pay my sister's school in town. So, and then looking up to them and how they do things, though, being the youngest of 12, I guess they pick on me all the time, but I have to look up to them and and how they do things. So, yeah, and I was lucky. I was pretty much lucky, because when my father retired, and so my sisters take over the taking care of the family, like financial, situations, stuff like that, and pay for our school fees. My older sisters, especially my oldest sister named Millie. And and then I went to school in town. After school, I went back and teach in the village. So that's why I love the Samoan way of life. And that's why I love, the clothes we use at home is like very thin materials we put around our bodies, because the weather fits, and the food is good. Yeah, people of my country, I love my people. They're good people. And so that's the other thing about Samoa. It's like, because it's so far from, like the Western world, it's like we'll be able to preserve our culture. Like, we still speak Samoa, we still act Samoa, we still maintain our old language, culture, and traditions, So that's what I love about it. Moving over here to the United States, and I look at how things going over here, because when I first moved here, it's a culture shock for me. Because here I am, a local boy, way far from the town in Samoa, and I moved straight to, I went to New Zealand first, then I moved over here. But lucky that my wife was around me, because I do not know, what's what to expect. When I first arrived in LA, I saw the military guys walk over. They said, "Nux," with their, they're very bossy, and they very, it's like, man, they mean guys over here. So, but that's how it goes. And then we take the flight from LA to Missouri. And my first experience, when I first walk out the airport, I look at, it's very dirty. It's very dirty. I said, man, this is not dirty in Samoa. It's very clean. New Zealand is very clean when I come here. But that's my experience. I'm telling you. But that's what. And then I said that to my wife, and I said, wow, this is America. I thought America is, everything is clean, neat, and, but there's a lot of dirty spots out there. And my wife laughed at me. So as we go along, and we went to her house, and look at it. It was snow. That's the first time I see a snow. When no snow in Samoa. I look at it, man, what are those white stuff? I look at his snow, and I was cold. I stayed in the house for about a week before I come out. I was so cold, and I said, man, I want to go back home. I want to go back to my country. It's warm and beautiful, and food is good. And then it was funny. Then my wife, I had no job at that time. So my wife find a rugby team for me to play, so that I can. I went and play rugby, and I wasn't a good rugby player, but it's just something to do. And then that's how I met these guys. Vaige heard about me. He came over and he bring me, and I said, "Man, I didn't know that there's some Samoan guys over here." So and then here we are. We got a family, and we meet these guys, and we always get together and in birthday parties, weddings, and funerals or a barbecue. And here is our little family. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Eric, let me reverse back to as far as the income back home. Okay. I'll piggyback on what Mr. Puni said about the income in the family back home. I can also remember back home early in the morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning. My mom used to get up and iron. We have an iron that's made off a coconut shell. Where we have to burn it and put it inside this big metal thing, and then So I used to watch my mom early at 4 o'clock in the morning and iron shirt and get up, and then she dress and go to work. As far as the income, I remember my mom started out 10 cents an hour. Now, that's working in StarKist. That was, I remember that. And then she will move on to 15, 20, 25. I think the last year was 50 cents an hour. I can remember when I left the island. So thinking about 40 hours a week, making 50 cents an hour, back home, it's tough. And my mom, like Puni said, his parents works for Vanchem. But my mom was the only income in our family. Plus us, my dad, myself, my other 3 brothers, we farm, and then my sisters, like Malele said, the girls clean the house and, but the man prepped the food and everything. So as my mom going to work, we, after school and all that, we go up to the farm and farm the land, plantation, in the evening, before 4 o'clock, we have to come back, cook the food for the family, and, here we go. Mom came home and, there it is. Dinner's ready and everything. But the income back home was very, very low. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, like how, you guys all touched on talking about like, not having very much money, and the difference too, like in here, we're very materialistic. We got to have the nice house, the nice cars and stuff. But in Samoa, it's not like that at all. And you kind of value more so like the land almost. And like you live off the land and the ocean, and that was the main thing, right? Like, you had the land, and you could have your farm, and you could go out to the ocean and get the fish and stuff. Like, you guys were all rich in that type of way of those.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
We were rich as far as the culture, as far as having money. We didn't have any of that, but we were happy people, we're happy, We've got food everywhere. It's just that we don't have money to buy materialistic stuff, And that's how life it is back home. Now it's a different thing.
That's what I want to get more into now is like, like the culture stuff. So like, how you explain and share like Samoan culture and compare it to like American, like, what makes Samoan culture like so like unique and, special and different than, other cultures. Like, you could talk about numerous things. Like, you could talk about like the food, the houses, like the huts, and variety of things. Yeah, what would you like to talk about?
Like, growing up in Samoa, we didn't have house like we do have here now. It was always a grass hut, like from the beginning. That's how my people shelter themselves, it was always grass hut. House right now back on the island, it's just a recent thing, and the culture back home is very rich, it doesn't matter where, when we leave the island and come over here, the culture is always our main number one thing, Like you said, people say, oh, where you from? I'm Samoan, okay, so do you know the culture, So that's the big thing. Growing up in Samoa, we didn't worry about food or anything, we've always have food and everything. Now, the way of life, the Samoa, is we always respect our elderly. That is the main thing. It doesn't matter, I'm talking about our mom and dad. It doesn't matter whether they're wrong or right or what, they're always right, in that situation. We never overtalk them. We never go beyond them. It's always yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, all that, So that is the main thing to me. I respect my elderly, anything else that, I could care less. But respecting the elderly is the main thing. And I see that here. I'm not going to say, I've seen parents and their kids over here go at it, And I tell myself, I said, man, that's not the way to talk to your parents. Why don't you, that is the one thing that I don't really care too much about around. Always respect your elderly. Yeah. So I'll pass it on to Seu Puni. We'll talk more, there's more.
It's kind of good. Mel, you want to go or me?
Yeah, I can go. Well, one of the things like growing up in Samoa and living here in Missouri and compared to the Samoan life, there's a lot of rich aspects about Samoan and Missouri because what I say, Samoan life fit me in Samoa. Now I moved to Missouri. I never take away my culture from me. I still have my culture with me, but I have to live the American way over here in order for me to survive. It's always, my culture is always in my heart, but I have to, go like how we go over here, and because in Samoa, it's like what I say, you got to respect your elderlies. It's like a lot of things. If you respect too much somebody over here, feel nice to people over here all the time, then they will take advantage of you, Like in Samoa, you have to be nice to people, respect people, give things free, feed the preachers and all that in Samoa. But here I am in Missouri, you cannot apply that over here. The kind of clothing we use in Samoa, you cannot wear that over here. The way we act in Samoa, come over here. But we still maintain our culture. That's why we have this little community over here and our little family over here, so we can still maintain that and talk about our culture. One of the main thing about Samoan, us over here, we can still speak Samoan. That's why I love about our little, family over here. We can still, because if we do not use it, we're going to lose it. Like in Samoa, my country, everybody speaks Samoan. And that's one of the things why the main thing why we maintain our culture, because we speak Samoan. We speak Samoan and we still have them Samoan ceremonial services, and we still have chiefs, and the way of life is still, I think it's one of the beautiful thing about being independent. Our country Samoa, we independent because we can be able to maintain that, and with the orders from the government to tell the people that, look, we still have to speak Samoa and do the Samoan way, and the chiefs and all that in Samoa. That is, I love about that, being independent, a country, being independent is a beautiful thing. So, yeah, we go here, it's good. Yeah. Thank you.
All righty, just touch up what Uso Vai was saying about our culture back home. I mean, which is very true. You know, growing up, it was very tough. You know, but it all depends on how the family was living, and you know how it, you know, from raising the kids growing up to be that age back home. So you know, we talk about our culture. You know, you talk about our food. We are rich. We are so rich in that food situation because we got our farms back home. You know, get fish for free. You don't even buy it, you know, fish or any lobster, crabs, or anything like that you want to enjoy. Like seafood, you just hop in that little canoe boat and go do your fishing out in the ocean. That's your free food. You know, and you come to land. You know, if you want to eat chicken and pigs and stuff like that, your dinner's flying around the house, man. That, you know, all these chickens are running free. All the pigs, we got, you know, we got our little pig farms. You know, that's what we take care of for food for us. And in the plantation, we got our taro, breadfruit. You know, you're talking about anything that we can eat, almost like bananas and, you know, stuff like that. Those are, you know, like I said, it's your food. You're not struggling. It's grow right by your house. You know, just walk outside and, you know, appetizers and stuff like that. You're talking mango trees, guava. They're outside. Just grab it off and, you know, grab one and hit it on the road and stuff like that. But, you know, the culture, you know, even us being here, I never leave that out, you know. Even when we get together, Samoan talking, we go right back to where we started and how we grew up in life back home. I mean, over here, you're talking funerals, gatherings and stuff like that. That's why we love to wear the, you know, the lava lava with this, like a skirt. It's like the ear we call lava lava. And that's just like we like to wear it here. Special occasions when people see us wear that. Hey, why do you? This is the culture back home when we go to, you know, special occasions like this. You know, the leis, the ulas, you know, all that. That's what, when people, hey, why you wear that? This is how we celebrate things back home. It's just to honor what's going on, honor the day of any celebrations. So to us, we still bring that culture back home to here. We'll never leave it behind. It's always going to be with us. You know it's been around us. When we get together, you know, a lot of that Samoan talking, just, you probably be like, man, they're probably talking about me. No, nothing bad or anything. It's just how we do. And then you always hear us talk English and explain it to you afterwards and stuff like that. And that's why we always love the language. People back home, when they meet us, that we've been here so long, when we see them each other, they freaked out that we still speak Samoan language that good. They were like, how the hell do you guys keep that up? Because this is how we are. And we never forget the language. We never forget the culture, where you were born and raised from. That is all about from back home. And then we like to bring it here. And that's how we grew up, still going. We try to teach it to our youngins right now, our kids, our family here, and go from there, which is kind of nice. That's why when we get together, all these kids and all these families, when they get together, they always look up to us. They say, oh man, you know, We respect Bai. He's got the high chief name now from back home, so we honor that. So he's like our chief up here, and like I said, the respective thing, respect your elders back home, it is big. I mean, we were gigantic people over our parents, but they said one word: where do you want it? How fast do you want to do it? Now. That's all they are. Because growing up, when they say sussa, you know what a sussa is, a slab or whatever they can grab their hands us to get to us.
2x4, rocks.
Cut up holes. Those are all the things they use for us because they're so little, well, not little, but tiny people. And then they looked at us growing up. So that's how the respect thing goes. It's not only to our parents, it's our uncles, aunts, everybody that's older than you, an older cousin, older brother, whatever. That's the respect thing. It's kind of sad coming here to the state and see how different it is now here. Just nobody cares about, I don't care how old you are. I'm still going to do what I want to do. And that's why we don't look at that way. We just want to do the old school way and bring it here. And people would say, I always tease and say, okay, this is why we're still here. And that's why they're down there, because they don't listen. Do the respective thing and just listen. Respect your elders. And like Vi said, we still bring it here and we love it. We don't care who it is. And we meet some other Samoan people from all over. If it's older than us, we do the respective thing. Just honor them and enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, you touched up on a lot of different things there. So it's funny that you say about respecting, all you guys talk about respecting elders and stuff, because that's a really big thing with Native American tribes is that, they're the ones, it's not just because of the age and stuff, but it's also because they possess the knowledge and stuff that will pass on to you. And they're the ones that took care of you and all that. So that's the reason why there's that high sense of respect for the elders. And yeah, it is sad, like how American culture today, it's not like that. It's they're like kind of like elders are kind of like thought of more of like a burden or, they're insignificant type thing. You see many of them, they get thrown in like nursing homes or things like that, or they're just forgotten about, or, they're just not taken care of in that right way. So, but yeah, it's just interesting you brought that up. And you also brought up about the, and I was looking at Vi's shirt about like the clothing, and Molele talked about it too. And you talked about like the lava lavas. So that was good. Like how you kind of talked about that. But you also like what you're wearing though, like the necklace, there's different like necklaces and like symbols and stuff like that. Yeah. Can you guys like talk about different designs and, even like shirt design, clothing designs and tattoo designs and what that all kind of means?
Hey, bye. Also.
Okay. So the shirt, the design on all on the shirts and everything that you see, it's all from the old Samoan way of the art, the Samoan way of the tattooing, body tattooing. And I know Molele's got the full body Samoan chief tattoo. Okay, so where this design that we're wearing in our clothes and lava and everything are all based off the tattooing. In Samoa they call it tatau. The tau is for the men, malu is for the women. So when they tattoo the man, is the tatau for the man, and when they tattoo the women, they call it the malu. Okay, so the design that in all the shirt, any Samoan shirt, are all based off the tattooing stuff, back home. Yeah.
I run into around to what Tua was talking about is like, but the clothes, the clothing in Samoa is a kind of, we wear the kind of clothes that fit the weather and fit the culture. A little, let me mention a little bit about this because back in the day, before our time, people use bark of trees and skin of animals for clothes. We're not using that no more. But the design and the color, the kind of materials we use right now fit the weather. And so the drawings and the art on the clothes is, it mentions something. It's like, it mentions something like a war or something like fish or birds or stuff. Those are the kind of things is around us in Samoa. It represents something. Yeah, so it's all part of being Samoan. It's all part of the culture, and it's all part of that kind of freedom we have in Samoa. It's like, why are we free to express ourselves with what we wear, and but at the same time, we show some respect. We show some class with what we wear. So, did I answer that question, Eric? So it's like not like that. The other thing is like the kind of clothes we wear Samoa because it stands for something. What I'm talking about is you can tell what a chief wear during a ceremony, traditional ceremony. Nobody wear that kind of clothes. We're like, oh wow, he's a chief. Every people automatically know what a chief and the ula, the kalen, and and you can tell from how they carry themselves and like over here. But the other thing is like the way they speak and talk. You know right away. Even though you are a foreigner, somebody that don't speak Samoa, you can tell right away that that person is somebody of important. So that's how it goes. And mention something about what's the other thing?
Well, Vi kind of mentioned a little bit about the different styles of like tattoos, and maybe mention a little bit about that.
Yeah. The tattoo there's a story behind it. It's gifted. It's all traditional. It's traditional. It's traditional. It's like nowadays, anybody can have a tattoo right now, and it's like it's body art right now and body decoration. But back in those times, tattoo is for something of it's an honor. It's traditional, and it's for like you're ready to do something important, like you're ready to serve the chiefs and serve your community, serve your family, stuff like that. Nowadays, it's like it's different. But what it means is it's all part of Samoan life. Yeah, it represents something. Like it stands for something, and tattoo is an honor. It's an honor for my people to have it because it's a gift given to our ancestors, and it's passed on to us until now. So it's a very sacred thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and your tattoo, what does that tattoo represent? Your tattoo starts like at your waist and it goes down your upper to about mid-thigh area. So what's the meaning behind that specific type
The meaning of the meaning of the tattoo is the meaning of the body tattoo to us is like you can ready to serve. I mean, the time when you during the process of the tattoo, during the time of the tattooing, it's very painful. It's very painful, and before you get to that point, your family have to talk together. You have to discuss. Your parents and the chief of your family have to talk about you're gonna handle it, and then when you go for it, that means you're gonna get ready to face the pain of life. Like, hey, if you can handle the tattoo, you can handle the hard times in life, like any difficulties, any problems. Problems happen every day. But if you can handle the pain of the tattoo, that means you can handle you can ready to face life's hard times. And what it represents is like when you put in your body, you put in the bodies of the like the art in the of that like they put in your body is like the arrow or the spearheads or those other kind of things. Because back in the day, Samoans have a lot of fighting and war and stuff like that. So those are what that means. Is like, wow, that's he put a arrowhead on his body. The other thing is like if you see the back of the tattoo is like a little canoe with two sides facing both sides. That means you can go anywhere you want, but you don't struggle. You can go anywhere. You can fight all the way until you die or but and that's how you go nonstop. You fight for it. You try the best you can. When you do something, do it in the best of your ability, and that's what that means. And so for all these, they put it right in the center of your body. That's where the your strength at chi and that's what it is. I mean, it's a gift. Yeah, it's a gift, and it's not given to just any person. It's just whoever handle it. Means you can go and try the best you can in everything. yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
let me touch a little bit on a tattooing thing over here. Okay, so getting a tattoo is not simple, It's not something like, oh, I want to get a tattoo. Let me go get. No. Your family and the tribe has to talk about it. They said, okay, is Sel ready for the tattoo? Can he be a good representative of our family or the tribe anywhere, anywhere he goes, So it's not, getting a tattoo is not something like you say, okay, I want to get it. No. Your family, the chiefs, and every tribe in that village have to have a big meeting, a powwow. In the end, they call it a powwow. In Samoa, they call it a fono, or what's the other? Fono, And when they have a fono, it's like all the tribes in that village have to sit in this grass hut, have a meeting, says, is your son ready for this? And it, he say yeah or nay, And that's how, when you see someone with a full body tattoo, it's not just like, oh, I just get a tattoo. No. It's a big ceremony. It's the biggest thing there is, After, and getting a tattoo is not a one or a day thing. It all depends on your strength, on that person's strength. Okay, because there are so many designs of the tattooing, the full body Samoan tattoo, and each of those designs, it means something, and they are very prestigious about their design. A lot of the people over here, they do design, but they have a schematic or something. But the Samoan, they freehand everything, because the tapping and all that, because it's from generation after generation, and they know who's getting it, why are you getting it, are you the son of this chief, blah, 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 blah. Okay, talking about chief, okay, you can tell a chief by the way they dress, okay? You can tell the ali'i. Ali'i means the top dog. Talking chief, you see a person, there's two types of chief. The ali'i, which is the main guy. A talking chief is the one that do all the talking for the top dog, the ali'i chief. So when there was a ceremony or anything in the Samoan culture, you can see the way of the clothing, the talking chief or the head chief, by the way the clothes is. It's really cool, It's the coloring and everything of the clothing and everything, as far as representing to the culture, as part of the ceremony. Yes.
And when it comes to the tattooing, like, yeah, people nowadays, they think about, when they think of tattoo, they think about the gun, but in Samoa, like, they primarily use the tapping method, which if you think about a pain level, that's totally different, and
Yes.
and then Puni, you've mentioned a little bit about like, here in the States, like I've seen some places they sell like the kava drink, but that drink and everything has a special ceremonial place within the tattooing part, right?
Yeah. In a way, there's always two. It's kind of different, speaking from myself, from the experience about the cover thing, back home growing up, the only time I see him do it is when wedding. I remember big ceremony, like big celebration, not funerals, because it's kind of sad thing, but they only celebrate after the whole thing is done. But during the weddings, when it's all settled down, everything, you're talking like Vi was saying, all the high chiefs, around the families, all the big guys that talk for your chiefs and all that, they always gather after, into a bigger hut house, where they do all their ceremonies and stuff and enjoy this cover thing, which is, I tried one here, to tell you the truth, I never tried one back home, but I kind of like tried one here. I can tell by the smell, it's not the same as the one they make back home. And like I say, these, you're talking about high chiefs growing up with enjoying this cover thing, and their cigarette or their cigar thing, it's just a banana leaf. It's just a dry banana leaf. They just tear out the banana leaf, which is dry, crunch it and roll it. That's their cigar or cigarette back in the day. For the old guys, was smoking that banana leaf thing back then, which is when I was growing up as a young kid, seeing them do it. I tried, but it tastes like, like crap anyway, but they got used to it. Yeah, it's not the same as a little kid trying to get to it. And what Brian Maletta was talking about, the tattoo thing, like back in the days, both head of the families got to agree to it, who's going to get it. And go back to the respective thing, you got to respect it first. That's how it all falls down to it, is you got to respect this thing when they give it to you. Back then, they used to be just, okay, he's going to be our next assistant high chief to talk for the family, so we're giving him the tattoo. This is when I grew up, when all my uncles were getting it. Nobody just went out and get it on their own. Like Vi was saying earlier, the family's got to agree to it, that they're going to pass it down to who's going to get it next. You're talking the full high chief Samoan tattoo, not the sleeves or, elbow things, whatever. We're talking about the Samoan, the original tattoo, which is started. The sleeve thing and all that, this is kind of new to us this time, years, and this is all new. The only thing we used to see was the full tattoo like Arusa Malele's got, because they honor that and give it to him. So that's the whole thing. Like growing up, I think I seen my grandpa, my mom's dad, and my uncle and my uncle's brother-in-law, they tattooed 3 of them at the same time. Like 3 guys playing it. By watching that looks painful. So every time they're done with a little section, they rush into the ocean. This is the healing thing, was throw them in, you got to go sit in the ocean, let it soak in to heal. That's your ointment to heal that big ass ink going through your skin. It was like that. Now, I don't know how Maletta it took them 5 days for all 3 of them. And what it was kind of cool about it, all 3 of them started with the lines, and everybody knew what the next session goes to, so they switch it. me watching it, they were switching it. Okay, this guy's going to do something special to this leg, and then the other guy. And that's how, so I don't know how Malele, it took him a week. I would say 5 days for all 3 of them to get done. As soon as they're done for the day, we take them to the ocean, let them sit in there and chill in there to heal up the pain, because there is pain. You can tell the pain from there. And back to the tattoo thing, well, it's just all about the respect. The family's got to agree to it. Who's going to get it next? And of course, I don't have one, so I can't speak more of it. Only Malele and Vi's got, they touch it. The only one in our family's got it is my older son, Derek. And he did the sleeve thing. And that's the only tattoo we have in this family. And that's probably, and it goes back to what Malele and Vi was saying. It's all about the respect of the meeting of the families and who's going to get it next. And that's how we grew up. It's got to be all together to agree on it, who's going to get it next. And nobody complains or say, my son should get it first, and then yours, it's none of that. Nobody because you're looking at one, like Vi was saying, the top dog of all. He says the word. He can put you out of the family, push you out, or just not let you involve in this family anymore. So do you want that? Or you just don't want to be known in this family anymore, which is never going to happen. Everybody's just going to show respect and say, okay, Chief, we agree with what you're saying. End of story. It's just one word. That guy talks all of it. What he says goes. And if he doesn't like it, all he's got to do is wave. That means no. And then he talks. That means yes. That's how respect the whole thing is. Back to the cover and all that. It's all agreed. And you never see a young guy sitting in this. It's all like old generations of chiefs, and which is Matais, or the assistants to your high chief. These are the guys that support the upper guys on any family special occasions, stuff like that. And that's why it's kind of cool, because even now it's still going strong back home doing that. And like Vi said, the outfit, you can tell who the chief is. This guy probably doesn't wear a shirt. He always had the special cane, and then the lei and his lava lava, and that's it. Those are how we grew up watching these guys back in the days. Well, we don't have it here or seen it here because there's just a few of us here. We don't have a big high up guy except for our brother Vi, and that's who we look up to it. And guess who's Vi's assistant, like his Matai, to talk for him and stuff like this? It's Malele. That's how we honor that here with us. Because then the tattoo thing kicks in, and there you go. We got our chief and we got our Matai. So then we get together. Those are the two top guys for us here. And that's how we live, because we respect each other. Never complain or anything. If I said, okay, let's do this, we sit down and we mention some things too, and we all agree to it, and then it goes smooth. That's why we're always having fun when we get together. And we, like I said, it's bringing the respect back from the island. The culture stays here with us and enjoy it. So go back to the lei thing. These necklaces, this is just a fun thing for us. We see the culture. These was make out to be a shark tooth or big tooth. If you see some of Vi's necklace, some of mine, I don't seen Vi, Malele seen one once in a while wear his. These guys were designed by coconut, shells or shark tooth, stuff like that, just to see it. But the way the artists and put their time into it, that's why we love it. It's because of the way they design it, because they put their time into it. I say, oh man, I gotta have that, because it also represent the South Pacific or whatever island you're coming from back home. And that's it, which is kind of cool. when they see that, oh man, you got to be Samoan. That's the first thing people say when they see this. It's that, and then they see the color of our skin and all that. You Samoan, our funky haircuts and all that. That's all they kind of laughed at us about it. So we kind of notice with the little reflection here and there, they can tell just the way we dress too and how we act and talk around our people, our friends around here. And that's the respect, baby, which is kind of cool. Having us all over here, which is nothing else to do but enjoy it. But we still keep the culture, though, which is a strong thing.
Did you have something to add on, Malele?
One of the things, and on to what Puni was talking about is it's a lot of changing right now in the culture at home. Puni mentioned something about the cover, the ava. In Samoa, we call it the ava. Ava is only for the chiefs. Ava is only, you cannot drink there is also always a saying in Samoa growing up, you cannot drink ava until you become a chief. Yeah, because it's a blessing. Once you drink that ava, it's a blessing and it's a curse. Because what I mean is a curse. When you drink the ava before you become a chief, by the time you become a chief, you don't have that, gifted in speaking, gifting in talking. But yes, it is. I mean, that's how it is. You cannot drink the ava until you become a chief. Because nowadays, the changing I'm talking about, nowadays, you can see people drinking kava all the time. I mean,
not right.
Yeah, it's from their, whatever they want to do. But that's what I believe. And that's how I grow up, in Samoa. And you cannot drink the chief. Excuse me. You cannot drink the ava until you become a chief. That's the thing. I mean, once it's a Samoan drink. That drink is only for the chiefs. And that other thing has a story. And it is a reason why only the chiefs can drink that. Only the chiefs can drink that. And the other things about, it's a changing in the culture. I mean, I think as life goes on, there's a lot of changing. You see, going back and forth to Samoa and see how things goes. It's like things is changing now. I mean, it can be good and can be bad, but I can see that at home. I mean, and you left Samoa for a little bit and you came back, you see how the changes I'm talking about. Yeah. It's changing like how people act, how people talk, people dress, because I can tell, even looking at the Facebook, social media, you can see how the young generation right now of my country is like, wow, they starting to act like, the outsiders. But yeah, but when I grow up, we mostly live the traditional way. But things is changing now. So living here in Missouri and compared to Samoa, it's like it make me grow as a person living in Missouri and know where I come from. It make me appreciate my culture more. It make me appreciate my culture more from living here. And because when I look at the way things going on over here, it's wow. It make me appreciate my culture. And if you ask about it, I'll mention something to you about it more. Yeah. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah. No, that was awesome because what you were saying about the Ava and how it's only meant for like the chiefs and like ceremony, like, that's what a lot of Native American tribes, they try and tell people who aren't familiar with the culture, like, there are certain things about tribes that they view as being sacred, basically. Like, not everybody is meant to use, like, for instance, like feathers, like in certain tribes here with the American Indians, sometimes feathers are almost viewed as like a medal of honor, basically, like a way of service. But people want to wear feathers and have a headdress, and the headdress is with
Yes.
some tribes means you're a chief. And some people want to have these items, but it's not meant for everybody. Like those certain specific
Exactly.
items, like what you said with Ava, is meant for the chiefs. Just like here, like, you know, certain things are meant for our chiefs or for certain ceremonies, and people want to sometimes take things, and we sometimes call that cultural appropriation, and people want to, you know, everybody wants to have it, you know, it's a
Right.
cool thing or an in style thing, and they want to make money off of it. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
You
that's
brought
what-
that topic up though.
I like to touch base on as far as the changing. Okay, so like Brother Melita said, the changing is really something right now, and I understand exactly what he's saying. Back in the days, you know, everything was manual working, you know. Nowadays, I mean, when I leave the United States to go to Samoa, I see a big change. And it's not something that I like, but that's how way of life is, you know. And the changing come from the outside world. And guess who brought the changing in? We did, us. We moved here in the United States and says, oh, I gotta have the microwave for my family. They say, you know, I'm gonna take this home and so they can, you know, but where is the culture, you know? And that's what and that's what I am really afraid of. We're gonna end up losing the culture, you know, which is, it's not something I'm ready for. I still love the culture, you know? I like the humble beginning, like from the back in the days. I start seeing some of the pictures from back in the days, how clean everything was back in the days. Nowadays in Samoa, you know, everybody's got car, everybody's got iPhone, you know, everybody's got walkie-talkie, you know, PlayStation. Where were these things back in the days? You know, how is this thing helping them? You know, and I don't see it, you know. I don't see it. I still like the old Samoan way. Some people say it's tough. Well, it's only tough when you make it tough, but that's the way we grew up, you know. So, like Malena said, there is a big changing, and I agree with that. And you know, and I hope that change will not, you know, lose the culture. You know, I mean, forget out about it. You know, because I don't think Samoan people will, you know, will do it. You know, like the two islands, the American side and the Samoa, the independent side. I can see it a little bit Americanized in the American side. You know, I can see it because I was raised there and I grew up there too myself. Now, on this independent side, it's more of a culture where the culture is still strong, maintained, and all that, you know. Now, it's a lot bigger. The independent side is a bigger island than the American side. But if you go to the independent side and visit way back in the mountain, the culture is so strong, still is strong up there. You know, it's a good, cool thing to see. So, yeah, I only hope we are not going to lose our culture. Look at Hawaii. Hawaii, you know, they don't have the culture anymore. Everything is modernized, you know. They've lost the culture, you know. Nobody can speak the language. That's why us here in Samoa, you know, I am so proud of my little community of Samoa, small community here in Missouri, here in Blackjack, St. Charles, you know, Florissant, Bermuda. We have this little, really tight, you know, Samoan community. It's small, but we're feisty. But, and the reason why I say we did good is because every time we gather, it's always some one language, and then we try to translate it to our, kids' friend or our inviter, our guests, and all that, but I am very proud of what we've got over here. I'm very proud of it. And talking about who's the head over here, I'm not the head over here. I am just there to make sure everything's okay, but I always count on these two. I know we have our brother Mike Yulee, but Mike Yulee kind of like he grew up here when he moved here when he was 7. But the two that I most count on is Puni and Malili. So, yeah, because they are more of the original as far as the culture. Now we have Happy, but Happy, he don't participate in this community that we've got over here, but these are the only two I can count on. Yeah. Undog.
All right, E, just to touch up what Bai said, which is kind of true. It's kind of slowly changing, all the culture back home and there. It's all about the generation. This new generation coming now that we go home and see, you almost like, you gotta be effing kidding me to see how all these kids are raised and like they don't give a crap anymore. Like, I don't care who my mom and dad is. They don't care they just lost the total respect. So now I always add this point to them after I talk to them. I kind of noticed it when I went home for my mom and dad's funerals, just to have family and all these young kids that were little bitty kids when I was growing up with them, to see the change they went through. And I always tell them the stories that say, just picture what your future is going to be. Look at us now and just think of how you're going to grow up, not care or taking care of what we went through. As you can tell, this generation, what me and Bai and Belinda are going, is still going strong. All that younger generation that didn't care about anything what we went through, how many they're dead, they're passed away because they don't care. So things happen to them. They don't see it, what we went through. And it goes back to all that respect. You got to honor it. If you don't care, your next road is going to be right under that 6-foot hole. That's how we look at it. And it's very true. Because all these kids that I talked to when I went home, a couple of years later, my brother gets a phone call. He'll call me and they'll say, "Hey, Dad, he passed away. He OD on some kind of drug and all that." It's kind of sad because, like Bai was saying, the generation just went from good to bad because you can tell how strong we're still rolling. And then you look at those kids, what they went through is not going to last long. So that's why we like to live just like this, the honor and the respect, and we still kick it right because we're living it. We're living it, and it's right there in front of us. And then you see all this the generation, like Bai was saying, how much it's changed so much. I landed at the airport, I'm looking around and say, you gotta be kidding me. Seeing all that, they don't care. They're 7 years, I'm sorry, maybe 12, 13-year-olds with a pack of cigarette. And growing up, if I had a cigarette, my ass is whooped so bad.
Yeah.
I probably won't be walking in the day, man. My mom is like 5'4", and she can swing that right arm, boy. We used to run away when she feared that we're going to get a smackdown or a sasa. As soon as we hear the word sasa, you better sit there and take it because you don't want pop to come to take care of what mom couldn't finish. So we always look at that way, is have that fear and that respect. And that's how we grew up. And my mom and dad were always happy that we turned out to be this, not the other side of things, which is kind of nice. Like you said, the culture, you see all the elders go through it, we kind of follow it. But then the generation under us, they don't give a crap. You come up here in the States and see it, it's sad. Go back home now, sad. Just try to bring it back. That's all we ask. That's why we're still kicking and having fun here, because of what we believe. It's kind of nice. Right, Mel?
Yes, Puni mentioned something about the difference between the cultures and the change. One of the things is, like, it make us tough right now. It make us strong as human being and make us stand together because of where we come from. We always connected ourselves to our origins, where we come from. Without that tough upbringing from home, we'll never be like this.
That's right.
We cannot go back and we cannot sass our kids, or we can sass a little bit. We can talk to them and talk to them because there are different ways, different generations now compared to our time. But we're just trying to make it just to adjust to the new changing environment. Yeah, as I mentioned before, something about you cannot bring the way from there to here. But in order to survive here, you have to go with the American way. But keep in your heart where you come from. That's what I mean. And I still have that respect with me, looking at people. And respect the elderlies over here. And that's why we connect together with my brothers over here. Tony and Uncle Mike and Vanessa and other guys. We still have that Samoan connection with us. One of the main thing is we speak Samoan. The other main thing about that is like, so that people will not understand what we're talking about. We might talk about something that they don't want to know about it, but at least we speak Samoan. My wife, she's from here, but she speaks Samoan too. That's one of the things I know that, because when she lived in Samoa for 2 years, and when we go to places, we just speak in Samoa. That's one of the beautiful thing about knowing Samoan language. You have to speak Samoan. Nobody know about what we're talking about. So, yeah, and we maintain our, we maintain our culture and language and, tradition and all that. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing to speak Samoan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know.
Let me touch back on the way of growing up. A lot of people here says, boy, like even my kids said, boy, that is still old school. But you know what? I am a big believer in the old way. I am. I wish there was a time machine where it can turn me back, take me back. I'm a big believer on the old way, but it's the old way to me, it's my way. Just say it, okay? This life where I'm living right now, I have to live it because it's the way things are in the country where I am right now, okay? Although things are changing back home, but the old way is still my way. I like the old way, But for now, I'll just settle with what I've got right now, But I still believe the old way. And that's how I do things around here myself. I do things the old way. Yeah. Most of the time it doesn't work out, but hey, that's the only way I know.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot of other like Native American people talk about too. It's sometimes they'll mention they have to live a life of two worlds. They live the life, kind of like traditional old ways, maintaining
Yeah.
that, preserving it, and then while also living this current way and learning these new ways. So in a way, they kind of feel like they live in these two worlds. So that's interesting you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I live in two worlds, the old way and the now way, you know.
I was just going to ask, like, can you guys, we talked about before, but I wanted to talk about for this video was with Native Americans, you know, there's different tribes
Yeah.
on Samoa. Does it go by tribes or villages? You know, how would someone that doesn't know about Samoan culture, you know, how is it on Samoa? Like, are there different like tribes of Samoans or just by villages or?
I in the Samoan way, we don't present ourselves as a tribe. Okay, within each village, there could be 100 families or what, but we go by what they call a Matai, the chief. Okay, so within that whole village, there could be like what, 5, 10 different chiefs in there, something like that. Yeah. So that is the difference. You know, the difference is the Indian way, they have tribes. The Samoan way, we have what we call Matai from each family. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and then is it the same on independent Samoa versus American Samoa?
Yes, it's the same. It's the same. Everything is the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned before, like some of the things have changed with American Samoa and independent Samoa, like, you know, the cultural ties of people. They're not, it's, you know, you said like, it seems like it's losing a little bit in American Samoa. So is it but before America acquired American Samoa,
Yeah.
was it pretty much, they were the same?
Before the changing of war comes into American Samoa side, the two islands were the same. Everything was the same. Yeah. Like I said, in 1962, that's when the American raised the flag in American Samoa side. That's why they always celebrate the Independence Day. Puni, is that correct, Puni? It's the flag day, right, Pundal?
The 17th, April 17th.
Yeah. It pays off in 1962 when the United States says, okay, we'll sign a treaty for you. I'm talking about American Samoa.
So just.
Yeah. Puni, what year was that? I think in 1962 was the Samoa becomes independent. But what year did
we're talking like probably in the early 50s. Don't quote me on that, but we can look at it.
Oh, I think in the 40.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
It was
So
right after
that's when let's just take like around the 1940. That's when the Americans signed a treaty with American Samoa, will use the island as a refuel station when they were having the war between us and Japan or something like that. Yeah. So that's how American Samoa became the territory of the United States. It was a treaty. Yeah. But back in the old days, America, I think it was still, yeah, it was called Western Samoa, which is Samoa now, and Eastern Samoa. Yeah, that's how. So in a Samoan name, Samoa is Sifo, Samoa is a side. So Samoa Western and Samoa Eastern. Yeah, and that's all. But back in the day, everything, the culture, everything was fine. And it was the same. Yeah, until the Americanized of stuff start moving into the American side, because once when the treaty was signed, it was like, okay, the people from American Samoa can go to the United States. Yeah. On a birth certificate, or I don't think it was passport or anything like that, because you are now territory of the United. It was a lot easier for them to travel from American Samoa to Hawaii to the United States, because they are underneath the Constitution of the United States.
As soon as they were signed with the United States, that's why it was called the U.S. territory.
U.S. Yeah, the American Samoa is the U.S. territory. But I also think back in the days, the other name for American Samoa was Tutuila. Yeah.
And it's still the same as the island.
Yeah.
That island was Tutuila, because there was a few more islands around it. So the one we were living on was Tutuila, and there were some other small islands around it, which is all part of that territory thing. Like touch up what Vi was saying, that the United American Samoa was a little bit higher than back in the days when we're growing up, and Samoa was kind of like this, because back in the days we have this U.S. citizen governor. We had a white governor that ran the whole the island of American Samoa, but Samoa independence was still run by these high chief people, the names back then. So as it fades away, we now have Samoan governors, and they starting to understand now the English thing is starting to go here too now, so it come up to right where each other it's balanced now. So it doesn't matter if you're in American Samoa or Samoa independence, because everything is level now, because the English side of things is starting to fade over here, so they all catch up to that thing. But growing up, we had that governor that ran the whole thing, understands it. That was the connection strong here to the United States.
Yeah.
But
the other thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. The other thing too was the reason why the balance back in the days was the exchange, the money, because American Samoa was using the United States currency, the money.
Currency here for us.
Yeah, money. So, but in Samoa, we're independent and we have our own money. Yeah. So that's why the unbalance was at before, back in the days. Still, as of now, the exchange.
Money, the money is still different.
Yeah, the exchange on the two islands, American Samoa is still higher because we use the United States money.
What is the currency now? What is the dollar to?
I think it's the dollar.
34.
Yeah, for $1 in Samoa is what?
US.
It's $2. $2. Yeah.
So you can almost double your money from American Samoa if you go spend it in Samoa.
Yeah.
It's a difference on the money situation.
That's the difference of the currency. Yeah.
Because you're almost like this little rich guy, just like us, go shopping over in independent Samoa, which is you'll get more here than what you can come here and get here.
Yeah.
Which is a big difference back then. It still is a little bit with the currency of money back home.
I don't know what Ryan Puni was talking about is, the difference between the two islands here at home. To me, I appreciate the work of our chiefs at home. Even though the changing coming from the outside world, like back in the day, we have only one king, the king of Manua. Then the Manua used to, the king of Manua. That's where all the Samoans go. And then things changed. The chiefs wants to have their own king. So there was a quarrel, civil war in my country in 1800. So 1800, like when so in order for the chiefs try to settle down that war, they ask for overseas countries for assistance, for help. That's how the Americans come to Samoa. That's how the Germans come to Western Samoa, and that's how this Western Samoa and American Samoa start. That's how this Eastern Samoa and Western Samoa come from. Because of the changing from the outside world, they come to try to, they call it help to our country, but I think it's a control thing. Anyway, like what I said, I appreciate the work of our chiefs, because even though they're changing from the outside world, we will still be able to maintain our culture. We still have that culture. We still have that ceremony. We still speak our language. So, it's like us living here. It's like living here in the United States. It's very hard to live here, I'm telling you, because of the changing, because of the culture. Even living with I'm speaking about me, even living with my wife, she's an American. It's hard. It's not easy to live with. Why? Because of the culture. Because of the culture, I still try to bring my Samoan way over here, and she live in she's an American. I cannot change that. But because she live in my country and she see how things go, and we talk about it, we talk about how things go, we make that balance where we have to meet in the middle, and we watch out for, how to make our family grow and see the kids, what the kids wants to see, and what we teaching our kids, how we help our families. That's how it goes. That's how this change thing. You gotta be survive. You have to look at it and find a way to survive. So because living in a different country, living in a different world is not easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy. Yeah. You can talk to anybody. You can make friends over here. You can talk to other people, but you can tell where they come from. You can tell the kind of background they come from. It's like at home. I know exactly what a person from American Samoa and a person from Samoa, where I'm from. Because American Samoa guys, they got assistance from the United States. For us at home, we have our own government. Whatever we make, hey, that's it. That's how it goes. And it's a lot of beautiful changes right now in my country. But that's how I think. It's like Samoa is like, even though it's like this changing, but it's still Samoan way. It's still Samoan way in both islands. There's still Samoan way, and we blessed to have that culture. We blessed to have that connection to our nature, to our environment. We love that. Yeah. So that's how it is. Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah. I know one big question I want to ask you guys, and whether you learned this through your own life and family and through schooling back on the island. You talked about the changes from coming in from the outside world, moving in onto the island, but the people were able to maintain and preserve the culture. But was there ever, do you feel like the culture was threatened to where, outside culture was trying to change Samoan culture, and the Samoan people were trying to resist that? Or was it kind of like a blending, like Samoan people were able to kind of take in the new outside?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But to me, it's not, I think, I don't want to put my people down, but I think this is how I think. I think they see the easy way of life, and they're trying to adapt that back home. And by doing that, I'm not agreed to that. I think they need to go both ways. Preserve the old way, the Samoan way, the Fat Samoa, and also the now way, But to me, I think they need to gear toward more our way instead of, I see this, oh, we can do this very easy. Here's a microwave. I still like to see the old way, making it's a Samoan oven, cooking the pig on the ground and all that. Now what? They got microwave. They say, oh, just use the microwave. Now, some of my people are now starting to farm the land. You know why? Because they're lazy. I see more of Chinese people doing the farm and sell it back to the Samoan people. That's how the things are over there right now. They're not farming the land. They're just, and I can see people from different cultures coming in, buying the land. I hope, but that's not happening on the Samoa side. I don't think that will, but I can see it because every time I talk to my sister or brother, I says, hey, what's going on? So, we just came from the market. Well, we have to go buy some taro, buy some banana, buy some breadfruit, coconut. And what happened to the land? What happened? Anybody farming it? You know what they say? No. Mostly the people from China, they migrated over there. Now they're farming the land, and they are so smart. Now they're selling right back to the Samoan people. And see, that's the big change I don't like. As I grew up back home, back in the days, we farmed, right after school, I come home. If I didn't have football practice, I pick up what we call the ako, the basket, the weaving basket, and run up there, do some cleaning, grow some taro, pack some taro to bring back down for the families, prepare the family. That's the way I grew up, And the changing right now, I'm not all for it. Okay, Boondog.
Yeah, back to what Eric was saying, if there's a big change, when I was growing up, when I was in high school, this is what we were teaching in high school was, the American English thing. And we also have in high school, which they never give up on it, was the Samoan culture classes. So there was always, even if you think you're going to forget, so going through high school, you also learn the Samoan tradition. There's like Samoan classes to tell you what it's all. That's how I kind of learned about some of the things I didn't know about because of those classes they put in high school. But it was just to teach the Samoan way, which is kind of awesome, So you got the English thing side in high school, and then you got also your Samoan classes that teaches you so you don't forget the culture, which is kind of cool. In a way, that's why I never forget it. When I left the island to come here, I still remember some partial part of it, just to learn from that we did in high school. That I never forget about it. Maybe something that mom and dad didn't mention to me, but my teacher did. It was kind of like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, which is kind of interesting because you learn it from your teacher in high school, then from there. So it goes back to my sophomore year in high school. We have these two classes. Was my English teacher. And then kind of like my other class was Samoan English / So my English class, when I come in there, as soon as you enter the classroom, the teacher does not want to hear you speak Samoan. Even if you don't know what you're saying in English, but you're trying to learn what to say and all that. So it's kind of nice because all these kids in there, the teachers Samoan and everything. But these teachers came here from the state after they learn the English, they teach all that, they learn it from here, graduate, come back home and teach it to us, which is kind of, the first thing you see on the board is like when you enter my classroom, no Samoans, it's all English, so you can learn it. So right after that class, I go to my next class. You can either speak English or Samoan, which is kind of nice. It tells you the meaning of the word. Like if we don't understand English, the Samoan way comes in and help you what that means. So which is kind of cool. So probably later in the afternoon after lunch, we got the Samoan class. It's just nothing but Samoan. You know, it's all about the history, what it's all about, you know, tell you what's going on, the days, just like a history class in the States. You know, it tells you exactly what it's all about, the war thing and all, what caused the island to form like this, why all the military used to be there, which is kind of nice. And that's all growing up. That's how we learn, was just from those classes. So I took that and brought it here, which is kind of nice. I still understand a little bit of the culture, which we never forget. That's all because the high school helped out. And, you know, the other thing too, just, you know, I think I've told this story to Bai. You know, when you go to high school here, you got to go to your territory sections here. Like Forest and Gibbs, you know, got to go to, you know, Central, all up there. Like here, you got to go to Howell because you live in this section here. Howell Central, you got to go back home. I was the only Samoan kid. I live in Pango. My village was Pango, where me and Bai were raised and born and raised in. And I'm supposed to go to Samoana High School, which is right down the street, not too far, right next to the town. But I got sent. I went from maybe 10 miles to 40 miles to school, high school. This is every day. I got to catch a bus and go there. And the reason why I was taken there, because my aunt was a librarian and my uncle was the Samoan history teacher there. So that's how I kind of learned the thing there. So my mom and dad sent me away from going to where Vi went to high school.
And his cousin.
And take me all the way down there. And the reason why I did so good in high school, because
You're a bad boy.
Yes, because I told this about, you know, I seen all these kids skipping classes. I said, oh, I'm going to try this. So my freshman year, I skipped a class right after lunch and didn't go back. I just said, oh man, this is kind of nice. Played basketball, got in the bus, went home. So Monday, I come back. I'm in my first class of the morning, and I get the page from high school, from the principal's office. Mr. Pooney, please come to the library. I said, go to the library? What the hell's going on there? So I went into the library where my aunt worked. I think I told Vi the story.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. So my aunt and my uncle were in there. So she closes the library and kicked everybody out that was in the library. This is the high school library. She stood up, kicked everybody out. And I got an whooping so bad. That was the last time I skipped school. All the way through my senior year in high school, no more. But because I was the fear of what my aunt and uncle were teachers, and I learned that too. Don't do stupid things, just be honest and take care of it. And so I learned so much from high school. So I brought that little culture there and brought it here, which is kind of nice to us. And I also told Vi, that helps my English out was those classes. And also I have cousins that live here so long in the United States. When they came home, that's all they spoke for a long time was English because they didn't know Samoans yet. So I kind of listened and learned it. And my English started from watching my cousins talk and from high school. That's how I kind of learned the language of English. And that was it. So I came here, so I learned a little bit. I understand a few words here and there, but it all started back home and brought it here.
Okay, so touch back on how we learn the culture. I learned the culture both ways, my mom and my dad, and also in school. Like Puni mentioned, we have what they call Samoan culture class and also the English class. Now, English in Samoa is our second language. I'll just put it that way. But we all have, to maintain our culture. So how I learned the culture is I learned it from my mom and my dad, especially from my mom. My mom is from the Samoan side, where Malele is from, and all the culture. I mean, this lady was so amazing of everything, husking coconut, cracking a coconut, getting the meat out of coconut, squeezing the juice out of coconut, the cooked food. I learned everything from her. Field dressing a pig. We used to have a pig farm, so every Sunday is a big thing. We gotta have a hog for the family, especially on White Sunday. That's when everybody tells story about Jesus Christ and blah blah. It's always on April is White Sunday. October, yeah. So yeah, so I was growing up as a kid, and I watched this lady. I watched my mom. I mean, she was. If I could bring her back to life, boy, I would learn everything from her. She was all about culture. She didn't know English. None of my parents speak English. The only word they know, my mom you can only say the word yes. Her yes is like this. Yeah, moving the head back. But growing up as a kid, I was the only one that know English in my family. From high school, elementary, I remember sitting in elementary morning class, ABC saying ABC, A, B, C, D. We have to literally sing it out, just to try to learn English. So move on to high school. That's when we learn about the culture, But I will not leave the elementary because that's the other way of us learning we still learn culture as we move on. Okay. But learning the culture, I learned both ways, not just from high school and all that. But I've learned so much from my parents, about the culture, everything, like Puni said, we also learned the culture in high school, because the class was always there. It was a must. We take the English and the Samoan culture. Yeah, back in the days. Yeah.
Add on to what Ryan Puni was talking about is how I learned the culture. I guess that's the only culture I know. Grow up in Samoa, that's how I learned. I learned from everything. I learned from looking at people around me, my parents, my sisters, brothers, people of my village, looking at, doing chores every day, fishing, singing, everything. That's the culture. I learned from everything. I went to school. The only time we hear some English was the English subject, which is I hate English when I was young.
We all hate English.
And everything is in Samoa. Then I went to school, and when I was working in Samoa as a school teacher, is always a culture thing. It's always that's the part of being a teacher in Samoa is to maintain that culture. You have to act, Samoa, and you gotta be a Samoan, live in Samoan way, and believe in Samoan way in order to maintain that, which is I believe that. And where I learned the culture is around my environment. Everything. I learned from everything. Yeah, like nobody teach me how to climb a coconut tree. I climb by myself, looking at my brothers climb the coconut. I climb the coconut. Nobody showed me technique and how to. It's like singing. I hear my mother singing to me when I was a little boy. She sang to me. My older sister, she sang to me. So there's some in the village. There's some songs. The songs of long ago. people back in maybe in the 1200, but still singing right now. They still sing that same song, never lose anything. The lyrics and the words is the same, you know. So, and I just in case I don't wanna forget this. I'm gonna bring this up too. They're changing. They're changing in Samoa. One of the biggest change in Samoa, not only the government thing, but the Christianity. Growing up in Samoa,
Yeah.
and I see this change. I see this change because the Christianity is good that they Christianize Samoa, but right now looking at it, I say, well, if the Christianity do not arrive in Samoa because they get to Samoa in mid 1800, 1828, 1830, 1845, and Samoans still live in their old ways. But when the Christianity arrived in Samoa, they cut out a lot of Samoan ways because the Christianity said that that's a wrong way, that you're not supposed to live like that. How can somebody come in my country and tell us what to do? That's the same way we live from years, generations, from the beginning of times. And somebody come and tell us, hey, that's not the way to live. No, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. And but the chiefs, but because the Christianity is very, they affiliated and they get along and they talk to the chiefs, the high chiefs of Samoa, the king of Samoa back in those times, in order to, to bring in their messages. But that's how I look at it. That's why a lot of change in my country right now is the Christianity, the government thing and the Christianity, which is all good. And there's some bad, stuff about it too. And my final thought about this is living here in the United States. Living here in the United States is like what I said before, it make me grow strong and grow as a person and make me appreciate my culture more. Because a lot of things that I see over here, I look at it, it's like, man, that's not good, it's not nice, but I have to leave and go with it and, put in my ways of to survive. But in my heart, I still remember where I come from. And, when I go back home, I see these changes I'm talking about. I still be able to, to move along and be able to go with it because, and I know that, hey, this, what I believe is good to grow as a person and it's good to move forward, and keep on going and survive, But, and I see this, without all these changes coming to my country, we still have that always, and, but it's good to have some change too. So, but, it's good to have some change so that people will not get bored and tired of doing the same old ways. But you gotta go, be able to adjust to the new change. That's how I put it. You have to, go with the new change and still remember your old ways and you remember where you come from, you remember your culture. Don't ever lose your culture and don't ever lose the language. Love you all. Bye.
Actually, Malele brought up an interesting point because I was wondering about that because I remember when we went to Samoa and I saw all the churches in the, in the schools and stuff that, were like religious schools. I was wondering if that was taking over, the Christianity was taking over the Samoan beliefs. And if Samoan beliefs now are, it's kind of if it was going away.
Yeah, to end that, Eric, is the thing of this is like, it's a lot of things changing because of the Christianity. Like I mentioned, because a lot of things the old ways is cut off, like how we do the marriages in some of the old school. I'm not gonna get into that, but I'm just mentioning there, the marriages the way we dress, because back in the day, people, the ladies and they go topless, which is normal
I
to
like
us.
that old way.
Yeah, that's normal.
Long time ago.
Yeah, long
I
time ago.
didn't see it.
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
that's
but-
before the Christianity came home. But when they get over to Samoa, they told my people, no, you gotta put something on because. But if you look at the same thing every day, it become normal. What makes you? It's like now women put their, cover themselves up, and but the chiefs, when you are in a meeting or funnel, the respectful way of sitting in a funnel is like back in the days, topless, no shirts on, wear ulafala, and that's how it goes. And entitled men serving the chiefs have to go topless. Yeah, you cannot walk in the chief's house without a shirt. It's thing. But and a lot of the marriages, weddings in Samoa, the weddings they do in the traditional way. But the Christianity came over to Samoa, and when they arrived in Samoa, they changed that because this is bad. Do this way. Do this but. It's good, but what about if it stay like how we were back in the day? That's how I look at it. So those are the changing. I'm not saying that I against what is going on, but I'm saying is the changing of culture and how the old ways and the new ways goes. But it's good to have some change. So yeah. Yeah.
I got just one more question for you guys. All right, last one, and we'll end things. So, a lot of you see rugby games going on, and people ask about, like, they'll see like New Zealand or some of the other Polynesian teams, and they'll do like the haka dance. So can you talk about more about like what that type of dance is, or like what Samoans do, and what does that mean?
Back in the days, the haka more of New Zealand and Maori things back in the days, But in the Samoan, we used to do what is called a slap dance, called a
Pataupati.
Pataupati, yeah. Pataupati, yeah. So that's the only difference, So the haka in New Zealand is more of their fighting war song, But the Pataupati in Samoa, the kind of similar to the haka, it's more of a dance. It's not a war chant or anything, It's the way they represent themselves. Each village represent themselves in like a flag days or independence days or ceremony or anything like that. That is the only difference. But right now, Samoa is also called a haka. I have a haka. It is called sivatau. It's similar to the Maori New Zealand haka. It's also represent the way the Samoan warriors back in the day, similar to the Maori's warriors back in the day. So, but back then, Samoa only have the whakaupaki. It's a real good dance.
And would you see that, like, with like you said, like you guys played football? Would you guys do that prior to football games, or was it just only for like ceremonies? Or
yeah, okay, that's a new thing now. Okay, but growing up back in American Samoa, we didn't have any of that. All we know is they raise they sing the anthem, and right after that, kickoff. It was never a haka or a sivatau or a whakaupaki or whatever was presented. It was strictly the national anthem, of American Samoa. And right after that, game's on. Now, I don't know about the New Zealand side, what they do, because, it's a similar way of Samoa. They sing the Samoa national, and right after that, it's game time. But right now, it's a new thing, and also it migrated here in the United States. First, it was in Hawaii, now in the United States, it's everywhere, though. But instead of the Samoan doing the Sivatau, as they're geared toward more into the haka, because haka was the original. Yeah. So you don't see the Samoan Sivatau in any college or any high school here. It's always kamaki, the New Zealander style. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to. This is kind of new. I mean, this just originally started the haka thing. I mean, when we grew up on it, we didn't see it back then. The All Blacks, one of the best rugby teams back in the South Pacific, because when we were playing, me growing up, rugby, we just like line up, shake hands, see your bat. It was nothing, till I got here to the States, and all of a sudden I started seeing this haka thing starting to grow. That's when I first started noticing it. But back then, I didn't see it growing just like that. But, there was always a talk that it's just an intimidation dance. They just try to, okay, let's do the old back in the days war dance so we can show these guys what it's all about, where we're from. It's almost telling you, like, hey, we're from the South Pacific. This is what we used to do back in the days. This is how we're going to dominate the game. And this is what we're going to show you how it goes down. And so that was the whole thing, was just the, nothing to hurt anybody or anyone else. It's just an intimidation dance just to show the fear of your competition in that way. Not too long ago.
What that dance, the Maori, the New Zealand All Blacks is doing is like, I grow up, I see them, I see them do that dance before the test, rugby test. And like what Ryan Puni was talking about, is nothing like that in my country when we come up. But I think what they're doing is, I like how they do it, and like representing their culture, because that's the Maori culture. That's the Maori culture showing how they are. This dance of intimidation and try to threaten their opponent, and they bring in their part of the culture in there. It's like when they start a war, they do that kind of thing. But for us, like we don't intimidate our opponents. We just beat our opponent up. Yeah, that's how we are. Samoa, we don't talk. We just, okay, let's get it on. Let's do it. Yeah, that's how we do it. I mean, we don't have the dance that Maya was talking about is like, we dance when we happy. It's like that. We dance when we happy, showing our strengths, showing our, what we express ourselves when we dance. But we don't dance and we fight. When we can ready to fight, we fight. Yeah, that's how we go. So, yeah, but it's because of we all Polynesians, like the Maoris, the Samoans, the Tongans, and our language and our culture, it's quite similar. Our language is like that. So we pretty much, the way we do things is similar too. So, and because of the New Zealand All Blacks is so popular and this haka is so popular, I guess all the other guys nowadays try to copy that. So, but it's beautiful. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So
I think it's good when to have something like this, so, and they kind of shared this type of stuff about the Samoan people and culture to people who aren't familiar. So yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, no, we really do appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate you for inviting us doing this.
Thanks, Eric. Really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
I hope he
Thanks,
answered everything and straight up to you. That's just coming from the heart of what we know, that I know, and also Malele and Vi. So they're probably talking from of what we believe in and we understand and what we're saying, of just what we learn to give it up to you. So hopefully it works out for you.
Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric, for taking the time, and thanks Tua and Puni for having us have this talk, and I hope it helps you. And I apologize if we say anything that hurt somebody's feeling or offended somebody, but we just speak from our heart, and I hope I do not miss something about about my culture, and I hope I do not overstress something and if I offend the language and the culture. I respect my people, respect my culture, and I love being a Samoan, and it's a good thing to be a Samoan, and living here in the United States is very good. I know a lot of change that make me grow a passion over here, but because some of the things at home is like, you can only speak in a certain way. Over here, one of the beautiful things about America, and I love about this, the freedom of speech in America. This is one of the countries that you can do that. One of the countries that you can, it's a beautiful thing about America is you can be able to speak your voice, your opinion anytime. I love about it, but in a respectful way. So
Yeah.
once again, thank you very much, Eric, for this opportunity that you giving us, and we hope it helps you. And thank you very much, Eric. Tight.
But anyway, Eric, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Well,
Yeah,
you guys did great. Yeah, thank you. So you guys take care.
Yeah.
Gary.
Thank you, Eric.
All right. We'll see you guys
Yeah.
later.
So far, so before means
yeah.
goodbye, farewell.
Tight.
For time.
Mahalo.
Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that and you learned a lot about the Samoan culture. And please check out our other segments that we have posted on the website. Have a good one.